Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, sorry I didn't put out a video earlier on in the week, guys, but unfortunately, Nvidia decided to do an update on their graphics card and completely ruined mine. Well done. Right, thank you for all the new subscribers to the channel and all your comments. I do read them all, but like I said in previous videos, it's getting a little bit hard to reply. But I do try. But thank you for everybody who's joined the channel. I really do appreciate it. And it is slowly growing again. Right, now on the back of the Tarantino, you know, I've done a video last week on Quentin Tarantino going on Joe Rogan and his depiction of Bruce in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I think pretty much we can all agree he was full of shit. Well, I said I was going to do a follow-up video about the lesson that Bruce Lee was going to be taught by Judo Gene LeBell. Because you remember on Joe Rogan, Quentin Tarantino said,
Well, the stuntman hated Bruce.
Really?
On Green Hornet. No, it's in Matthew Polly's book. It's always been known. That's why Gene LeBell was brought on, to teach Bruce respect for American stuntmen. Bruce had nothing but disrespect for stuntmen.
Bruce Lee had nothing but disrespect for American stunt guys. So Gene LeBell was brought on by Benny Dobbins to teach Bruce how to respect American stunt guys. But as a kung fu genius quite rightly pointed out,
Bruce Lee was American.
I was born in San Francisco in 1940.
Nice one, Quentin. Let's give you a little bit of backstory. Now, Benny Dobbins was Van Williams' stuntman. So on the back of that, Benny Dobbins got the job as the stunt coordinator on the Green Hornet series. And we all must agree that Benny Dobbins wouldn't bring in a stunt guy, as it's claimed by Tarantino, to rough up one of the co-stars. Just from a pure production point of view. A, it's unprofessional, Benny Dobbins would get fired, so would Gene LeBell, and it would cost the production money. But don't take my word for it. Listen to Gene himself.
He was the franchise, so if he ever did get hurt, the show's down, the show's through.
That's why Gene LeBell was brought on.
Gene LeBell is a bit of a legend where it comes to martial arts in America. He won both the heavyweight and overall divisions of the Amateur Athletic Union National Judo Championships, and he would go on to do it again the next year. On December 2nd, 1963, Gene fought a boxer, Milo Savage, in Salt Lake City, and he actually won by choking Milo out in the 4th round. On June 26, 1976, Gene was the referee between Muhammad Ali and Antonio Inoki, a Japanese wrestler, and it was billed as War of the Worlds. Gene would later do wrestling and to become a well-respected Hollywood stuntman. Gene has 164 acting credits and 253 stunt credits on the Internet Movie Database. So Gene LeBell was, he passed away sadly in 2022, as legit a martial artist as they come.
I'll choke you.
And to be fair, he has often spoke very highly about Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee was one of the most talented athletes I've ever seen or worked with. And as a person, he was twice that. Great guy.
Well, most of the time.
Bruce is great, but I think, really, if I'm honest, Rhonda would have him for lunch. Because Rhonda could annihilate, mutilate, assassinate anybody, women and dwarves.
So I thought we'll go through and try and go through some of these stories, because there's different accounts of what happened, all said by Gene LeBell, apparently. So I want to sort of like break down the contradictory stories. Like I said, I don't know for sure. I'm trying to get to the truth.
Well, I must find out the truth.
Bob Calhoun was one of the ghostwriters on Gene LeBell's autobiography, The Godfather of Grappling. And he wrote, Lee was a working stiff on the set of the Green Hornet, but he was kicking the shit out of the stuntmen. They couldn't convince him that he could go easy and it would still look great on film. So the show's stunt coordinator, Benny Dobbins, needed a ringer to deal with Lee, so he called in Judo Gene. Gene has later said, though he did get a call to appear on the Green Hornet series from Benny Dobbins, it had nothing to do with teaching Bruce Lee a lesson. Benny Dobbins was a stunt coordinator for the show, and he called and asked me to check out some kid by the name of Bruce Lee. "I've got this guy who does the same stuff as you do," Dobbins said. Of course, Benny didn't know the difference between judo and kung fu, but he wanted me to watch this new actor work. Well, that sounds more feasible to me than all this picking him up and all the other stuff that's to come. In an interview in 2013 called The Old Man and the Gi, Gene claimed that I was the stunt coordinator for the Green Hornet. Well, we know that ain't true, it was Benny Dobbins. I snatched him in a fireman carry and walked around with Bruce sitting on my shoulders. Contradictory stories already. Gene would later state that Bruce Lee demanded respect, and Benny Dobbins, the stunt coordinator, the guy that hired me, says, "We'll tease this guy a little bit." And that's what the stunt guys do, to make him part of the family. So he says, "Well, pick him up." LeBell said, "I snatched him and picked him up and held him in what wrestlers call a crouching Nelson." Make him part of what? The stunt family? Bruce Lee was a co-star. He wasn't one of the stunt guys. Also, wrestler Bobby Blaze tells a different account of what Gene told him.
Gene wrestled him down to the floor and held on to him, and Bruce Lee says, "Let me up." And he goes, "No, I'm not letting you up because you're going to punch the shit out of me if I do." so he kind of held him there till because Bruce Lee had a fucking temper on him. And Bruce Lee would just lose his shit and beat people till they couldn't talk right anymore under the wrong circumstance. And so Gene held him on the floor until Bruce was like, okay, let me up. I promise I'm not going to hit you when I get up.
So what was it? Was he come just to view Bruce Lee? Was he picked up in a fireman's carry? Did Gene get him in a crouching Nelson, whatever the hell that is? Or did he pin him to the floor? Which one is true? Now, apart from Gene, no one else who worked on the Green Hornet remembers anything like this happening.
The Green Hornet was, I think, more fun because the cast and the crew got along so well. There was a great camaraderie, and it was a wonderful show to work on.
You can listen to Van Williams. I've really gone searching for different people. No one ever tells this story. It all comes down to one man, Gene LeBell. Now, Van Williams worked on pretty much every scene with Bruce Lee in the Green Hornet. Never mentioned it once. Now, we already know, on the back of my Tarantino video, Gene LeBell worked on one episode of the Green Hornet, not a lot of the shows.
Working for the Green Hornet, doing a lot of the shows.
Out of the 26 episodes of the Green Hornet, Gene LeBell only appeared in one, the 11th episode, and that was called The Hunters and the Hunted, according to the Internet Movie Database. That episode was filmed around the 20th of September 1966. So apparently, after that one encounter with Gene, Bruce Lee saw holes in his technique, his martial art technique, and he needed to learn from Gene. And Gene said,
"You've got to come to my dojo and do gung fu."
But Bruce Lee's LA school wasn't open in 1966. It actually didn't open until February 1967. And then he says, "You've got to come to my dojo and do kung fu." So I say, hell, I'll go down to his dojo. Our mats are thick at Gene's school. He had thin tatami mats, which was about 1/8 of an inch thick. And if you fall on it, you'll break your gluteus maximus. But according to Steve Golden, one of Bruce Lee's early students, there was no tatami mats at Bruce Lee's school. It had concrete flooring. Gene also has said that he couldn't stand the smell of the incense burning in Bruce Lee's school. According to Steve Golden, there was no incense burning at Bruce Lee's school. So anyway, Bruce needed to learn judo from Judo Gene. Bruce already knew judo. I think he studied a little bit of judo in Hong Kong. Also, Jesse Glover, who met Bruce in 1959 in Seattle, as they both attended the Edison Technical College, was a champion judo guy who won Pacific Northwest Judo Championships loads of times. Bruce obtained some judo instruction from Fred Sato, a black belt in judo, and he did wrestling too. Also, Chris Cato was a 7th Dan black belt and a national champion in 1957. He taught Bruce judo. Wally J, the founder of Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu, spent time with Bruce Lee and his associates in 1962, teaching them judo and jiu-jitsu techniques. Hayward Nishioka competed in kata in the 1962 All Japan National Championship. Nishioka won gold medal in the judo in 1967 Pan American Games. So Bruce had judo guys all around him from right back in the early days, before he even moved to LA. Gene continues, he worked out with me for about a year, on and off. He'd come once or twice a week, and he would skip a week, and he worked out in the afternoon, and he liked it when there was nobody about. Well, that's convenient. So there's literally no witnesses anywhere, apart from Gene's story, that Bruce went to train there or Gene went to train at Bruce's school. Literally no one. But for me, the big elephant in the room is the Bruce Lee Daytime Diaries that you can see on Bruce Lee's YouTube channel. Shannon Lee often shows them, and they range from daily workouts to whom he trained with, to who he met for lunch, doctor's appointments, friends and family's birthdays, private kung fu lessons, tournaments, movies he watched, what he was working on, etc. Literally, Bruce Lee put down how many punches he'd throw with what hand each day. You can see them on YouTube, and John Little had access to these daytimers. And between 1966 and 1973, when Bruce Lee sadly passed away, there's not a mention of Gene. Not a name, not a phone number, not a home address, not a dojo, not a mention of what he trained with. Nothing. It's just completely no Gene LeBell. I find that really suspicious. And also, are there any photographs of Bruce Lee with Gene LeBell? I'm not talking about screenshots from the episode of The Green Hornet or the screenshots from their scene in Ironside. But Bruce had his photo with all of them. You know, Haywood Nishioka, Chuck Norris, you name it, Bruce would have his photo. But I have done extensive searches on the internet, and I've come up with that many photos of the two of them together, apart from the screenshots. But if any of you find any, send me a link down below, because I have searched high and low and found nothing. So why would he say all this stuff?
Bruce Lee was a student of mine. Bruce Lee was a student of mine for about a year.
This is the bit. Why would he say he worked with Bruce Lee for a year? Well, what you got to think of is in 1966 and 1967, when Bruce Lee was doing The Green Hornet and Kato, he was just starting out in Hollywood. And no one then could conceive of what the world was going to be like post 1973. Bruce Lee shot into superstardom, and let's be honest, in the early 1970s, right the way through, everybody was kung fu fighting. On the back of Enter the Dragon. It's a fact. Bruce Lee's fame went global, and anyone associated with Bruce Lee, let's be fair, could make a little money. Right, I'm going to do a hypothetical right now, right? Say, for instance, I taught nunchuckers, right? I was teaching nunchucks, right? So there was a poster, or I had a school, or I put out a book, just me on the front saying nunchaku techniques. And then it had a star on it saying the guy that taught Bruce Lee nunchuckers. How do you think that school would do? It would be flooded. How do you think the book would sell? It would go off the shelves like bullets. Just saying. Now, since Bruce has passed, Chuck Norris has done it. He said he taught Bruce high kicks. June Reed did the same thing. And on the front cover of Gene LeBell's book, Grappling Master is a bright yellow kind of star shape. And in it says, Bruce Lee's grappling instructor. I rest my case. Now, there's a PDF floating around on the internet. I was lucky to be sent one. And it's called Kato and the Judo Man. And it's written by John Little. It goes into so much more detail than what I put out in this video, but I didn't want to read it out verbatim. I mean, I didn't actually get John's permission to put this out, so if you ever watch this, John Little, sorry. But a lot of this information is out on the internet, and I have seen videos broaching this subject as well. But I do think you can get it. If you go to Chris Kent's Jeet Kune Do website, I think it's available to download, but I'm not sure. So my conclusion for this video is, do I think Gene LeBell was brought in on the set of The Green Hornet on the 11th episode, long after the problem had been solved? No, I don't think it happened. I think it's a load of codswallop. The too many conflicting stories, and plus there is literally no witness to it anywhere. And Bruce Lee had a fiery temper. Everyone knew it. He wouldn't have people pick him up and embarrass him like that. It just wouldn't happen. And as to Bruce learning from Gene and Gene learning from Bruce for about a year. I'm very, very doubtful that happened as well.
It was very difficult for me to get to know him, and but I looked at the screen credits and I said, "Hey, this guy's name is Bruce Lee," because I never met the guy before. He beat me up 37 times before I knew his name.
But if anyone knows better than I do, like I said, and I keep saying it on this channel, I'm no expert on Bruce Lee, but I am trying to learn. And with this that I've got now, you lot, we can get to the bottom, because there's a lot of bullshit on Bruce Lee on the internet.
What's going on, guys?
And I want to try and find the truth.
No more lies.
But by all means, in the comments down below, correct me if I'm wrong. And I will happily make another video saying, here is proof, blah, 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 with dates and all that lot. But good luck trying to find it, because I'm a little bit of an internet nerd and I couldn't find anything. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this, guys. Do you think Gene LeBell was brought in to rough up Bruce Lee on the set of the Green Hornet? It's only ever come from one person, and I'm not making this video to disrespect Judo Gene in any way, shape or form. Like I said, June Reed done it, Chuck Norris done it. Plenty of people post Bruce Lee's death have all come out saying they taught him this, they taught him that. And Bruce ain't around to refute it anymore. And the daytime dailies that Shannon Lee shows on her website, have a little look, or on her YouTube channel, and John Little has gone through them all. It tells a lot, doesn't it? Bruce would even tell you if he was going out to buy trousers in them. I don't think he'd miss out a big thing like training with someone through a year. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Right. Like I said, sorry this video weren't out sooner, guys. Nvidia. Nice. Right, if you like that sort of thing, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It don't cost you nothing and it really does help me out. Have yourselves an amazing week, guys. Much love. I'll be back with another ramble real soon. Take care now.